Hey everybody, this is Jason back with another review, and I've been wanting to do this one for a long time, and finally I said I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's going to take a little bit. It is 11/22/63 by J.J. Abrams. It's based off of a book from Stephen King, which I have right here as well, and it is a great book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. As you can see, it's going to take quite some time, but is well worth it. Even if you don't like Stephen King, this is not your typical Stephen King book, honestly. But it is a great book, and which leads into the miniseries that came out, and it actually came out on Hulu. It's a Hulu-based miniseries, and that is now on DVD and Blu-ray, which I have right here. It's a good, to me it's a great series that it would be well worth just buying the DVD or Blu-ray. Unless you already have Hulu, then I highly recommend watching it on Hulu. I'm just gonna open up the Blu-ray to see what's inside of it, and then what I'll do is we'll cover episode 1. There's 8 episodes in here, and I will cut them up. So we'll just go over what the DVD Blu-ray has, and then we'll cover episode 1. So here we go. Okay, it has a cover on it. Again, the same poster on there, 11/22/63, with the back of it. And again, it is James Franco as the main character. It is 2 discs. You get a cover right here, and also on the other side has an episode guide. And since we're going to be covering the first episode, I will go ahead and read this off. It's called The Rabbit Hole, parts 1 and 2. So it is a double episode. They really did kick this off with a bang. It was a great episode. Just before I even review it and talk about it, it's a great episode, and in my honest opinion, is the best episode that there is on here. Burned out high school teacher Jake Epping is tasked with traveling back in time to stop the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Now that's pretty basic, but that's what you need to know right there, is that he is a high school English teacher who just recently got a divorce. In fact, you see the divorce papers getting delivered for him to sign in episode 1. So let's go ahead and read the rest of in here. There is only one special feature, so that's the one downfall, in my opinion, of this, was that there should have been more. And but honestly, it's a 15-minute feature. It's called When the Future Fights Back, and it has some interviews with Stephen King and also Bridget Carpenter, who was the producer on here as well. So it is a good single special feature, but I would have loved to have a lot more. And let me go in a little detail with this. I was an extra on this series, so I did have a few things here and there, which I will cover during this. Not much, no speaking roles or anything like that, but I do feel blessed to be part of that. Honestly, it was a great time, and some of these reviews, I may go over some of the stuff that we did that week. I did a week of filming. Most of this was filmed in Canada, but a week of it was filmed here in Dallas. So, and you can see that poster back here. You probably can't see it that well over here, but Hulu sent this to me. It's a signed copy from the artist, and there was only, I think it's numbered one. It's out of 59 copies of this, so I feel blessed to even have that as well. So again, here is the Blu-ray. It comes with the digital HD ultraviolet, and then here you go, 2 discs, 4 episodes on each. So very basic Blu-ray, honestly. Nothing too fancy about it, but I do like to have this in my collection, honestly. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and go into the review of episode 1, The Rabbit Hole. And like I said before, it is a double episode, so it is 2 hours long. No commercials. Unless you have Hulu, they do add some commercials if you have the commercial based one. So, okay, so in the beginning, you are introduced to a guy named Harry Dunning, and he is the school's janitor. He's the janitor of the school that Jake Epping works at as an English teacher, and he is talking about a story that he wrote in an adult literature class that he is part of in here, and you kind of get a basic understanding about what happened to him because he is a bit slow, and it turns out, before I even go on, go ahead and if you haven't watched this, I don't want to spoil anything for you, really. So just stop here and just watch it, and then you can watch these afterwards. So I don't want to give it away or anything, but okay, here we go. So basically, in 1960, on Halloween night, Harry's father murdered his entire family, and Harry was the only person that was able to live. And unfortunately, he got hit. So he is a bit slow on the slow side of this. But his entire family, mother, sister, and brother, was murdered. So he's writing this short story and he's reading it in class, and that's where you're introduced to Jake Epping, and that is again that is James Franco is that playing that part, and again he is outstanding in this as Jake Epping in my honest opinion, because you typically expect him to play a stoner. So to me, it's more of a serious role. There's a little bit of humor in it, but it's more of a serious role. So I do like him when he plays this role. So basically, after all this is happening, after class, there's a graduation for Harry and the rest of his adult class. You are then introduced to Al Templeton. He owns Al's Diner, and Jake visits this often, and you find out that this is where he is given the divorce papers from his wife. He signs them, and that's it. So he's got nothing really to lose. He's on the... you feel in the book, at least, that he's got nowhere else to go. His job is down. You kind of don't feel this at this point, but I understand that's what it's supposed to be like. So basically, in between him signing the paperwork, which lasts 2 minutes, you had already met Al serving people some food and some coffee, and after his ex-wife leaves, you see Al, and he's totally sick and coughing and totally looks different. So basically, what happened there, and is if you don't know anything about the story, you're totally you don't know what the heck happened there. It's obviously a big difference. So of what happened, in that last 2 minutes. Basically, there's a rabbit hole. That's what he calls it. There's a rabbit hole in the pantry in the back area that has him time travel to 1960. The same day, October 21st, 1960, it's the same day that every time you go through it's the same time. You go there the exact same time. So that's this type of time machine. And no matter how long you spend back there and come back, it's only been 2 minutes in the present. So you could spend, that's what happened over there. He had gone back in time while he was talking to his ex-wife, getting the paperwork done, trying to accomplish the mission of saving JFK. Well, he didn't make it all that way. He made it like 2 years, and he got cancer. So he headed back, and that's why it's only 2 years. I'm sorry, 2 minutes. And then he needed to tell Jake a story. The reason, okay, he's sick, he can't finish this, so he needs somebody to go back there and change it. Because obviously, he tells him that the butterfly effect. If you save JFK, everybody feels that if you save JFK, that everything would be perfect afterwards. You know, like his brother wouldn't die. Vietnam may have not happened, and so you find this out. So while he's talking to him at Al's, Al is invited Jake over to his house, and he is talking to him about this. Jake has to sleep on it. Well, the next morning he finds out that Al had died. I think he had taken some type of pills and he had killed himself because he didn't want to have to deal with all that cancer. So Jake felt like at this point he had nothing to lose, so go ahead and go back there. Al had set him up with a fake ID, fake everything, and he's going to go by the name of Jake Amberson, which I thought was a little confusing. In the book, it was separate. His name in the past was George Amberson, so this time they just kept the name Jake. So I guess it's okay. It's just a minor little change. But I like the difference in the book, you know, of you have Jake from the present and George in the past, living the past life. So he goes into the rabbit hole, and you know he has to get ready. He has to shave off his goatee, get a haircut, get a suit, a hat. It has to fit in, and he's on his way to Dallas. And that's what happens. Al had given him a book of information, including sporting events. So that's how he's able to make money, is to bet on stuff that they already know the outcome of those sporting events, which happens here in the first episode. There, well, but I don't even want to, shouldn't even talk about it. But there is a couple of things in this that they kind of messed up. So basically, he ends up gambling like $100 and wins on a boxing match, I think $3,600. So then he's getting chased by these guys afterwards and goes hide in a motel. He could have easily just gone through the rabbit hole and then back and reset everything. Says that's what happens if you go back, it resets everything. But guess what? You keep the money that you just won. So, you know, stuff like that. You were so close to the rabbit hole. In the book, you know, they did the same thing, but it was far away from the rabbit hole when they was gambling. In fact, it wasn't even Maine. He was driving to Texas. It was like the middle of Florida or something like that when he started gambling. And so it's a little minor thing that I got, but not a big deal. He got away with the money. He bought a car and he started driving to Texas. And again, all of this time it's been filmed in Canada. So most people would watch this. They don't even know the difference, you know. Especially when they get to Dallas, you would just assume maybe it's all Dallas. But it's interesting from my point of view, as I was there for all week of filming, to see the differences. So as he's driving down into Dallas, that's the scene that I remember them filming. And this is you're introduced. Let me get over there. To Sadie Dunhill, and she's played by Sarah Gadon. Did a great job on this as well as Sadie, and she's going to end up being the love interest of this. And at this point in the series, she's still married to I want to get it right, Johnny Clayton, who's played by T.R. Knight. And again, you don't see much of him, but there's an episode later on that you do, and this guy did a great, outstanding job. Actually, they all did. Every one of these characters and these actors on here were great, in my opinion. So, but in this area of Dealey Plaza, this is where you're introduced to her for the first time, and then she leaves with her husband, and that's the last you see her for a little bit. But I do like this little area because as he's introducing himself to her, there's some people over there by the stairs of the school book depository, and although you don't see much of it, it's just me walking into the the steps. It's walking up. You can barely see on this episode. That's all that you can really see of me. So not much in this one, but there's some more coming up, and we'll go over that. He has to follow. So his whole thing now is to follow Lee Harvey Oswald's tracks. Well, Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't in Dallas at this point, but a guy by the name of George de Mohrenschildt was, and this is who they believe got in contact with Oswald. So Jake is following George de Mohrenschildt around, and then there's a scene where you see the President of the United States, JFK, give a speech in Dallas, and inside that arena, I was also there, but I'm not going to pinpoint where I am because it's impossible. However, it was interesting to see the effects afterwards because although there was quite a few people there, it wasn't exactly the same as that. They CGI'd us in there from one part to another part to another part. It took us 15 hours to film that scene alone, and it was only 2 minutes. It's the part where you see JFK. As soon as Jake leaves that part of it, it's not filmed in Dallas. So it's interesting to see 2 minutes of it that took 15 hours, and that's getting dressed and all of that, and getting checked out by production, and then also checking out afterwards. So it was interesting, but again, it was impossible to see me unless you're sitting right next to Jake, which I wasn't at that point. I was down, I was in the same aisle, but you just couldn't see me, honestly. So what happens? We're just gonna I don't want to go through everything on here, but basically, when he comes back to this boarding house that he had been living at for a while since he got here, it was on fire, and he's decided to call it quits. The book that Al gave him that had all the information on Oswald was burnt to a crisp. So he took that and drove back to Maine. But on the way, he decided, he can do something. He's gonna try to save Harry Dunning, the guy that you meet in the very beginning of the episode. He's gonna try to kill his father and see if he can save Harry and his family. So that's where you're left at. It's in the middle of Kentucky, and that's what he's driving on his way back, and then he's over there watching them, and that's where it ends. So I kind of sped it up a little bit because I don't want to go over everything. Again, it's a 2-hour episode. It's a great episode, and if I was to rate it out of 10, I'm gonna rate it at 9 out of 10 because there's minor things that is a little like that rabbit hole I was telling you, he could have gone back and stuff like that. But I mean, if you just want to enjoy yourself and just relax and not kind of worry about that kind of stuff, just do it. Just engage into the episode and you will enjoy it, I promise. And this one actually takes the cake from the entire series and really gives you to wanting more. And right now with this Blu-ray, you can binge watch it. Because when I watched it, they were only putting one episode every Monday, so you had to wait till the next Monday. And they really do a good job from making you want to watch the next episode. So, all right, I'm going to call it an end to that right now, and I will come back later on, and we will start with episode 2, which is called The Kill Floor.